If I told you everything there was to say about Dark Age of Camelot, we'd be here all day. So I can't possibly go into everything about this huge, quite impressive online role-playing game. You might have heard of Dark Age of Camelot before. It's an online role-playing game similar to games like EverQuest and Asheron's Call, only it takes place after the death of the legendary King Arthur, and contrary to its title, it includes not just sort of the Arthurian realm of Albion, where Camelot is the capital, but it's also got two other realms based on other kinds of mythology. You've got Midgard, which is the Norse realm, where there are trolls and Vikings and things like that, and you also have Hibernia, which is a Celtic realm, where you have elves and half giants called Firbolg and that sort of thing. So these three different realms actually turn Dark Age of Camelot into what seems like three entirely different online role-playing games. Granted, some of the differences between these three realms are superficial, but each of them has its own unique character classes and character races and its own entire world that you can explore. And the way it works is, the only thing you could do with characters from other realms, the three realms exist in sort of close conjunction to each other with Frontier in between. The only thing you could do with other players is try to kill them, because Dark Age of Camelot involves this big sweeping realm versus realm conflict where these three realms exist in opposition to each other. If you've ever played a game like EverQuest, then you'll be familiar with a lot of what Dark Age of Camelot has to offer. It's primarily a game about fighting. You have to gain experience for your character, and you do this primarily by killing lots and lots and lots of monsters. Fortunately, the game's combat system is quite interesting, and its many different character classes all have a good amount of options that they can use in battle. And the game especially promotes team tactics, grouping with other players. You can form groups of up to 8 different people, and in turn, have combined groups for many more players and even larger encounters, especially in realm versus realm conflicts between players, where you'll literally have, armies of opposing players on either side. If you're intimidated by the notion of player versus player, you'll want to know that it's strictly optional. You don't need to ever venture into the frontier areas where player versus player combat exists, and you'll also be comforted to know that there's no penalty incurred if you're killed by an enemy player. You just kind of respawn at the last place you bound your character, and you can run back into the fray. There is a penalty if you get killed by one of the game's many monsters. What happens there is you lose some experience, and you also lose some points of Constitution, the statistic that determines how many hit points you have and stuff like that. You need to buy these Constitution points back from an NPC healer, and this starts to get more and more expensive as you gain in levels, to the point where it becomes pretty crippling on your pocketbook if you die. The game's economy is actually very stringent. It's hard to make ends meet in the world of Camelot, but this actually works out quite well. You'll feel like the money you've earned is very valuable, and you'll choose carefully as to the kind of equipment you'll purchase. The stringent economy also makes trade skills very important in Dark Age of Camelot. A player who learns how to make good weapons and armor can actually make a good amount of money selling these to players and stuff like that. People who practice trade skills can also combine their efforts with other craftsmen to create siege weapons, which can be used in realm versus realm encounters. You can actually have catapults and ballistas and battering rams out on the field along with these armies of players, and the realm versus realm ends up playing like a big game of capture the flag, where you're trying to storm enemy fortresses and steal their holy artifacts in the name of your own realm. Again, it's all in good fun. There's no permanent losses incurred if you should lose some of your artifacts to the enemy. There are other ways to gain experience besides just killing stuff. You can take quests and smaller quests called tasks, but primarily it is going to come down to doing a lot of fighting. And although many characters can fight effectively on their own, you are going to want to join groups of players, because the game definitely rewards groups by giving them various experience bonuses. The going can be very slow trying to gain levels in Dark Age of Camelot, but if you get into a good group and find a good place to hunt, or some good places to hunt rather, you'll level up nice and fast and gain access to a lot of new skills. The combat is generally nice and fast. Character classes, both melee classes and magic users, have lots of different things that they can do. Melee classes have what are called combat styles, which are basically special moves that they can use to cripple the enemy and stuff like that. Magic users have really impressive spells. They look great visually, and they can do a lot of different things, both in terms of helping the party and hindering the foes. The team tactics, where you have different character classes fighting in unison, work out very interestingly. They support each other effectively, and the combat is fun. Not only for that reason, but also because the monsters do a pretty good job of fighting, you know, whatever's the biggest threat to them, so you'll have to be careful to protect your spellcasters and things like that. It's important to note that the game is rock solid. It's completely stable. It looks great and sounds great by and large. There's little to no loading time in the game, except when you enter some of the capital cities and that sort of thing. The frame rate stays very smooth in almost all cases, even when you have lots and lots of players around. So what it boils down to is, should you make the switch from your game of choice to Dark Age of Camelot, or if you've never played an online RPG before, is this the one that you should try? In both cases, there's good reason why Dark Age of Camelot should be the game you should be playing right now. It's already got thousands of happy customers running around, killing monsters, forming guilds, fighting each other, enjoying the experience, enjoying the world. The combat's a lot of fun. Gaining levels is rewarding. You're getting lots and lots of new skills. And the developer has gone on record as saying it's fully committed to the game. The entire staff is still going to be working on Dark Age of Camelot for the foreseeable future, so a lot of new features have been promised for the coming months, and judging from how smoothly the launch of the game went and from some of the changes that have already been made since the game launched, it seems pretty likely that the developer is going to make good on these promises. So this is certainly the sort of game that you should take a look at, but of course bear in mind that, like most any online RPG, Dark Age of Camelot is very time-consuming. It is similar to games like EverQuest, so if you, for some reason, don't like the particular format of those games, you might not prefer the style of Dark Age of Camelot either. All that said, it's easily one of the finest online role-playing games to date, and one of the better games this year.